Brian Griese seems to be a really good coach for Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy, but there's still a very large chance that Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback of this team next year and moving forward because Jimmy's probably not coming back and Brock Purdy's played less than 3 games. Do you think Brian Griese is a good coach for Trey Lance?
Yeah, I don't think he's the optimal one yet because Trey doesn't have enough tread in his tires for Brian to even, for Coach Griese to even key in on anything to work on with him. I mean, you see something in practice, but a lot of times in practice things could be going well. He's not really getting like the live looks that I think maybe Coach Griese could really go in and, just really tinker with. Whereas Purdy, he's got the practice and he's got, his whole college take from the plethora of games he played. And even Garoppolo. I mean, Garoppolo, I think Brian Griese played a big part in why Garoppolo was playing at a high level this year. He wasn't turning the ball over, which is rare. He didn't have too many negative throws this year. And we actually saw a lot more of him going off script, challenging a little bit more downfield, even though they might not all have been completed. But it definitely seemed like a little more of a different dynamic Garoppolo. And then you transition to Purdy, and it's like, this guy's raring and ready to go. And he's even better and just looks great. Whereas with Trey, it was like, he's still raw. What has Brian Griese really done with them? So I think in terms of the style, I think Brian Griese is more suited for the style of players that Purdy and Garoppolo are, especially since they're similar. That's why you get so many coaches saying like it's a seamless fit in terms of transition from Garoppolo to Purdy. Whereas, Lance, he's definitely more mobile. He can run, he can scramble, and he's got a larger arm. So I think, because remember when he got hired, Kyle talked about Brian Griese being the psyche coach almost. And with these guys, Garoppolo and Purdy, I think it's been almost the whole package.
I agree. And I think what we're seeing with Brian Griese is I think he was instrumental in the selection of Brock Purdy. He wasn't here when the Niners drafted Trey Lance. And we'll never really understand why or how the Niners landed on that choice. But he was not involved. I think my best guess is that Kyle wanted Mac Jones. And to make sure that he would get Mac Jones, he traded up. And then the whole world told Kyle, you can't take Mac Jones with the 3rd pick, which was true because they could have just taken Mac Jones with the 12th pick. You didn't need to trade up for Mac Jones. So I think he tried to talk himself in. I think the whole organization tried to talk themselves into someone with more upside, who was Lance. So that was not Griese's thing. He comes in, and they're like, we got this kid. We want to draft another quarterback, and he's
we
like,
need your help.
I like that guy. I like Brock Purdy, and so does Clint Kubiak. He feels that way too, or whatever. Clint.
I think it's Clay.
Clint.
Clint.
There's 2 of them. One is in another. Anyway.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. Yeah.
So Griese's that tells me he's invested in Purdy. I don't know that he's invested in Lance. I don't know. Give him a chance though. Give him a chance.
I think once Trey gets like more reps under his body, not just in the practice rep, it's just we need game reps from him. Whether it's preseason, regular season, just something, and then so Brian Griese can go off something. I mean, even everyone keeps this guy's just a huge mystery. Where Purdy, it's like he had something to go off of, a huge slew of games from Iowa, and he just looks at it and is like, okay, I can see this and that. Like, let's work on this. And then the same thing with Garoppolo. And since Garoppolo and those two have like some similarities, especially stylistically, he can just be like, hey, you see what Jimmy just did? Don't do that. Or you see what he's not doing? Do that. We need you to do that. So I think it's a lot more translatable, all transferable skills that he can like uplift with him and try to instill in him coaching wise with Purdy. Whereas it's like, it's a little bit more tough with Lance because he has to be more, you can't just confine him as just like that pocket quarterback. You have to allow him to be him to an extent.
Yeah. I guess we've been asking a lot all year, like how much credit does Brian Griese deserve?
At least a little bit, right?
A little bit. I mean, he's had his best results with the veteran Jimmy and Brock, who's been playing forever. I feel like a really good quarterback coach would get some results with Trey, but I mean, the guy got hurt immediately. So I want to see what Griese does with Trey. That's the ultimate test. Because, I mean, whether or not you like him or that's your first choice, that's a big challenge. That's a big project. If you're a legit coach, you can make some headway there. You can make him improve. So that's what I want to see.
Huge too with that injury and trying to get him to reworked and try to get like his mechanics, everything like back to being polished again. or not again, because he was flawed in a lot of his mechanics too. But I just helping him play a part and getting him back to where can be, and just and applying that to like a real offensive practice session. So I think Brian Griese is going to play a big part in and reintegrating Trey back into the offense, is getting him back up to speed again, because that's a lot of time not playing ball, and you're coming back, you're wondering, am I still the same guy with this injury?